everyone, so welcome back to another woman to woman video. I don't think I've done one of these in a little while, have I? But I thought that this would be a perfect topic to chat about. I'm just wondering, here it is, I had a bottle of water here that was with me, I couldn't find where it was, there it was. Yeah, I wanted to chat to you today about something that has been very, very controversial in the media recently, and I'm really excited to talk about this. I love talking about kind of like current affairs and that kind of thing anyway, and I thought it would be a very good fit for one of these videos, which seem to be your favourite types of videos as well. In case you're wondering why my hair looks a little bit dishevelled, shall we say. I washed it last night, kind of roughly dried it, and then kind of straightened it this morning. We had to be out of here by 9 o'clock, and it was a bit of a frantic morning. I was trying to get some stuff ready. We had a business meeting to go to, and it was just all a bit rushed, so that's why my hair and makeup are not as nice as I would usually like for them to be, but this isn't what this video is about, and you probably didn't even notice it until I brought it up, so whatever. But today we are talking about the now pretty much infamous Tess Holliday Cosmo cover, which, in case you're not aware, looks a little something like this. It is on the cover of UK Cosmo. I'm not actually sure about US Cosmo. I don't think it is. I think it's probably just the UK one at the moment. But I'm going to show you some of the images from the article. So this is the first image, which I think you'll agree is a very, very strong image. It's actually a very, very beautiful photograph. And then we have this image, which is super pretty. And then this picture's lovely as well, actually. That one right there. And then this one, which I thought was actually quite apt. So she's kind of like a pageant queen kind of thing. And yeah, that's it, that's everything. I did actually read the article involved as well, where she talks a lot about all of this kind of thing. But for those of you who don't know who Tess Holliday is, she pretty much exploded on social media. She is a plus size model from the US. I think she is from Mississippi actually, and she is a UK size 26, I believe. I did double check it earlier, but I'm constantly paranoid that like I'm saying it wrong. Yeah, she is a size UK 26. I don't know what that is in US sizes. You'd have to kind of look it up. So she is very, very much a okay, so she's in the US, I think it's a size 22, a UK size 26. She is very much at the face of the kind of plus size modelling industry, and I think she's a very stark contrast to somebody like Ashley Graham, who is also very much a champion of that kind of industry. But Ashley Graham, I think, as much as she is plus size for the fashion industry, I don't think Ashley Graham is necessarily plus size for most women. And I know there was that whole thing recently, wasn't there, about when Edwina Currie had said that she thought that Ashley Graham was obese and that she kind of thought she was setting a bad example and that kind of thing. But Ashley Graham is very, and again, this is all just in my opinion, so let's just preface that by saying this is just my opinion. Ashley Graham is very traditionally pretty. She's very beautiful. She's got the hair, she's got the face, she's plus size, but she's very well proportioned. She, you know, it's amazing to have her as part of that industry, but I think she is very much somebody that within the industry is considered plus size. In real life, perhaps not necessarily so. Tess Holliday, on the other hand, is very much someone who is plus size within the industry, and I think in real life as well. And a lot of people were having a problem with her being on the cover of this magazine because they were saying that having a body like that is not something that should be celebrated. She is morbidly obese, she's very, very unhealthy, and that they don't agree with her being on a cover of a magazine, and that she's setting a very bad example, telling people that it's okay to be obese. And my issue with this is that I think it's not giving people enough credit. women who buy magazines are not these stupid women who don't have a mind of their own and can't kind of think for themselves. And I know that there was a whole problem like years ago. It seems like it was years ago now, with kind of plus size 0 models, and there not being enough plus size models within the industry and that kind of thing. I understand that problem, and I understand the thinking process where they said that if there were so many size 0 models on the cover of all the magazines, it makes people feel inadequate, it makes people feel like I'm never going to look like that. It's unattainable. But again, with that, I think part of the issue is you're not giving people enough credit, that most women don't look at these magazines and think, I wish I looked like her. You can celebrate somebody's beauty and think that someone has an amazing body without wishing that that's how you looked, and without kind of not understanding that, like, you're never going to be a size 0, and you're probably never going to be a size 26 either. You're just kind of stuck somewhere in between, and whether that's a size 12 or that's a size 16, that's fine. And I think it's not giving people enough credit that they can tell the difference and know when they feel healthy and when they look healthy. Now, that's not to say that there isn't an obesity problem worldwide. There is. There really, really is an obesity problem, and young children and things like that, and in schools, I understand that it's a concern. I understand that it's a strain on the NHS. I completely see all of those things, all the health implications that come with being that overweight. I completely understand all of that. But what I think is happening in reaction with this cover is Cosmo have not put this woman on this cover to say this is how we should all aspire to look, this is the best way that you can look, this is healthy, this is amazing. At no point in this article, by the way, is her health even discussed. Because let me tell you something, a person's health is only their business. It is not the whole world's business if Tess Holliday gets diabetes. Just like it is not anyone else's business if somebody who is a size 0 is so thin that they have, like, I don't know, don't get periods anymore or something like that. It's no one's business other than that person's, first of all. Now, you could argue that, okay, once it's a strain on the country and it's a strain on the NHS, then it is becoming a problem. And you know what? Okay, so there are steps that are being taken with the fast food industry, with education in schools, to try and give people the correct choices to make, so that they don't find themselves in a situation where they are perhaps overweight in such a way that requires medical attention. Completely agree with that. But the reality of it is, this is somebody who is this weight because they just are, for various reasons that are, again, none of our business. And I think Cosmo putting her on this cover is actually such a brave thing, because all I think they're doing essentially is just celebrating that women come in all different shapes and sizes. And you know what? Sometimes the shape and size that they are is this. And you can still look beautiful at this. She still is really an attractive lady. She's still got beautiful hair. I always look at her hair and all her pictures and I'm like, she's got gorgeous hair. And she's somebody who, for someone who perhaps does look like her, will be an inspiration, because they will think, you know what, she's on the cover of that magazine, I'm not so bad, it's okay. And I think that can only be a positive thing. Now, that's not to say that everybody will be looking at this thinking, that's what I should look like, but I wouldn't look at a cover of, let's say, if Jennifer Lawrence, okay, here's Jennifer Lawrence in that beautiful promo for Joy, which is a perfume I very much want to try. I can look at this and I think Jennifer Lawrence is so beautiful, isn't she? Like, she's just stunning. But I don't look at this and think, oh, I wish I looked like Jennifer Lawrence. I don't look like Jennifer Lawrence, so, like, what does it matter? I just find the whole thing where people seem to sort of compare it by that, like, just really weird. And I know people like Piers Morgan have had a very strong opinion on this and say that they don't agree with it and stuff like that, and it's like, Piers Morgan's a guy, so the fact he has so many opinions on women, just, I find a bit baffling. I don't quite understand why he thinks that it's his place to have so many opinions on things like this. But ultimately, all this cover is doing is just celebrating that there are women who are a size 26 who maybe do read Cosmo and perhaps do deserve for somebody who looks a little bit like them to be reflected back at the cover that they're looking at. My thing is now is I think what happens very often, and actually it's very interesting within kind of the modelling industry and the plus size modelling industry, is women who are kind of that somewhere in between. So who like are a size 14, 16 kind of thing, maybe don't have these hourglass proportions like Ashley Graham has, are not represented in mainstream media. And I think that's maybe somewhere that needs to be improved, and that people need to see kind of women like that looking back at them a little bit more. But again, I don't think it's something that affects everybody's day-to-day life, and I don't think that it's somebody... I think, like, for example, a lot of the comments I saw on this cover were people saying that, you know, she is this way because she's just greedy, she eats too much, it's encouraging greed. And you're like, well... But what another person do? Why does that concern you? Why does it concern you how much Tess Holliday eats? Like, why is that something that you're worrying about? Worry what you eat. If you think you eat too much, then work on that. But don't worry about what someone else is eating. I just find that whole thing very, very weird. And I think a lot of people didn't bother to actually read the article as well, which is unfortunate because it was a really interesting article. She talks a lot about sexual abuse that she had suffered, and it was just really, really interesting. And I think for somebody like that to end up on a cover of this of such a big magazine, it is just really, really amazing. Something that we kind of should applaud, that somebody has made it to that kind of level. Just trying to find the article again because there was something I just wanted to show you. Yeah, has made it to that kind of level, and I just think when you look at that image, you just kind of think like good for you. You know, I don't quite understand how you can look at that and think anything other than that. It's not necessarily something that, you know, everyone's going to look at and think like, you know, oh, she looks nice even. But it's like, don't like flatter yourself by thinking that your opinion matters that much, because it really doesn't. And ultimately she's on the cover of the magazine and you're not. So who's laughing now? But I think that it's just good to show that beauty does have such a wide spectrum of what can be considered beautiful. And ultimately, the number one thing that you can take from this, even if you don't necessarily think that this is a good look, and you're entitled to think that, you should take from it the confidence. The confidence that something like this requires, because I think that's just admirable no matter what. I mean, like, for example, I'm not a particularly big fan of tattoos. I don't have any tattoos myself. It's not my look. I can appreciate them on other people, but I would never get one. But I look at this and like, I'm still like, oh my god, some of her tattoos are actually really, really gorgeous. Like this arm piece she has here with the lipstick and the vanity mirror and the gold and that whole piece here. That's so pretty. Doesn't mean I want it, but like, just differentiate between the two. And ultimately, you know, health is really, really important, but I think we all need to be responsible for our own personal health, rather than worrying about what other people are doing and trying to say that other people are pushing us to this. Now, I know a lot of people will perhaps say that like younger girls can be very influenced by this, like they were very influenced by size 0 and that kind of thing, and I can understand that argument. But I also think that, you know, well, you could say that, but then you could say that if you didn't put somebody on the cover who is very, very thin, how about girls who naturally are very, very thin won't feel represented? Do you see what I mean? Like, I think it's one of those situations where there isn't a win-win for everybody, and ultimately we all have to be responsible for ourselves, and we have to learn that it's very important to be able to just see lots of variation, and that there are so many different types of bodies and there are so many different types of beauty, and as long as you feel good in your own skin, you're good. That's it. That's all there is to it. There's nothing more than that. And people who are worried about, you know, this person's health and stuff, worry about your own life. Like, honestly, there are so many other big things in the world that you could be worrying about rather than be worrying about that. So yeah, that's kind of my reaction, shall we call it, 2 pence worth, about the Tess Holliday Cosmo cover. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please keep it civil. Don't start insulting how people look in the comments, because it's not nice, it's not gracious, it makes you look bad, and I will just delete the comments if you start saying about people's looks, like saying that they're ugly and things, because I've seen loads of horrible comments about this topic and I just don't think it's very necessary. Like, don't be a dick just for the sake of being a dick. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. If you have more requests for women to women videos, I'm all ears, and I will see you next time. Bye.